Mr. Kavedi, students have some questions about the H-1B lottery and visa alternatives. Here are some of the most Googled questions. The first one is, what options do I have if I lose my job on an H-1B? How long is the grace period?
If you're on H-1B, the grace period if you lose a job, the first question is, when you say that you lost a job, the first question is, did your employer give you a notification, or did he send you a notice on email or a text message or on a WhatsApp saying that, hey, this is your last day of your job? If you get a notification from the employer obligation is, if you're on H-1B, if you lost a job, then he has an obligation to let you know that this is the last date. And if you intend to stay in the country, find an employer, or if you want to change your status, you have 60 days. Otherwise, he has to pay you a fees where you can go back to your country. That means that's a money which he has to pay you for you to buy a ticket and go home. There is an obligation. That's number one. Number two, you have to also ask the employer, because he's given you a termination, is he going to revoke your visa? Because once the employment is terminated, the employer obligation is to revoke a visa, revoke your H-1B. That means he has to notify the immigration saying that, hey, we have terminated the visa and we don't want to continue the employment and sponsorship, so we intend to revoke the visa. There's an obligation on the employer to inform the immigration, and there is an obligation on the employer to clear all of your wages and fringe benefits, and they have to give you a repatriation funds. This is the term used in the legislation. That means they have to pay you a fees to go back to your country. And those are your remedies. And if you're terminated, then you have 60 days. You either have to find another employer, or you can change your status to either a student status or to a visitor visa or any other status. For example, if your wife is on an H-1B, you can convert into an H-4. Let's say if your wife is on a student visa F-1, you can convert into F-2. So you do have some options. You don't have to get panicky. Seek some legal advice and protect your interest.
What's the most important thing international students need to know when transitioning from F1 OPT to H-1B?
Excellent question, Katie. First thing is, they should not have any criminal history. That's the first thing. Don't get into trouble with law. Number one. Number two, if you're transitioning from F1 to H-1B, make sure that you do research on your employer, whether employer has filed any multiple applications, or F1 or the employer, is he having a premises to run the business. Find out the LCA, whether they're giving you a right job position, are they giving you a right wage, prevailing wage, and find out whether the company which is sponsoring you, do they have any employment, bona fide employment in the premises, or check it out if they have a job outside. Find out what sort of a job is this. Find out if it is relevant to your education. And the other thing is, please do find out whether the employer has a good credibility. What's happening most of the times these days, because employers are getting disqualified by the immigration and by the Department of Labor, if there are any complaints on them, or if they have committed any wrongs, like they filed multiple applications, have they misrepresented to the immigration, are they under audit? So buyer be aware. So being an employee or an F1 student, do some research. We get all these calls. When we ask these questions to the student, they say, oh, I just gave all the papers online. I gave the money because they've asked us to send money to somebody in India. Or
last question, what are some realistic visa alternatives to the H-1B for international graduates, especially in tech or business roles?
Excellent question, Katie. Because everybody thinks H-1 is the only alternative, but people, H-1Bs are of two types, one for the profit corporations, and the other second type is non-profit. If you're going to get a job in a hospital or any non-profits, you don't come under the quota. You can apply anytime. And the second alternative is sometimes you want to get a L1. Let's say your parents have businesses back home and you're one of the director back home. Let's say you came to United States and you want to open up a company on behalf of your parents, or your family business. You can also apply for an L1 within the 3 years of your time if you're in America. That's called L1A or L1B. And the other alternative you have is O visa. And let's say you are, before you came to America, you have some patents and copyrights back home, and you have extraordinary ability. You've done some publications, and some company intends to hire you, even for startups. If you have come up with some patents or copyrights, or you're coming up with some new idea, you're going to contribute something to the country, you can do an O visa as well. And the other thing is, as everybody knows, you get another PhD or something like that, get a CPT from the day one and apply. And there's another provision, a lot of students don't know this, that if you have any financial stress back home, or if you have any financial inability or some financial hardship, under the extraordinary ability, under the extraordinary circumstances, you can file for an application with the immigration saying that you intend to get a work authorization, you want to apply outside the campus, but you have to get a recommendation from DSO that you have some financial hardships. Sometimes people have hardships like parents' demise, or parents of businesses gone in bankruptcy, or there are some problems of political turmoil back home. For example, if you see Russia, or if you see Israel, if you see all these countries, Ukraine, people have problems. Sometimes even natural calamities, if you have problems, you're not able to pay the fees, you can also apply. And let's say your parents have, there was some sudden accident and they died. There's nobody to help you. So in such circumstances, you can go to the immigration and apply for a work authorization. You can stay. So if you fit in all of those circumstances or criteria, you can apply for work authorization. So these are some alternatives for students. And there are some students who come and complete their PhDs and postdoctorates. They can even apply under the EB1 or a national interest waiver, straight green card. And our firm has handled such cases too. And we're getting some inquiries in that regard and respect. So these are the alternatives.
That was very insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.